So Abby Brown is here tonight. She's here to talk about Confluence and some Confluence tools, amongst other things. I'm sure she's definitely going to have some invaluable information to pass over. So please, everybody, give her a warm welcome.
Thank you very much. So does anyone actually use Confluence before we begin? Show of hands. Oh, that's good then. So this might resonate a bit for you. So that's a good start. So I'm Abby. I'm a Senior Customer Success Manager for Collecti, who are part of the Adaptivist Group. So we are a bit of an Adaptivist Group takeover for you tonight, because Michael is also from the Adaptivist Group, who's going to talk too. I'm from the product side, so we make apps that live within Confluence, and I'd like to say we make it a little bit smarter and a little bit easier for you to use as well. But we're going to have a look at how we can set your knowledge free in Confluence. Can I check, are you data center users? Are you cloud? Any show of hands for anyone who's on cloud? Oh, that's pretty good. I am a true lover of Confluence Cloud. I think it's pretty much revolutionized how we work within Confluence. But I know if there's any DC people here that you're probably loving of your data center, may not want to give it up. So hopefully we can show you a little bit of the other side of the fence as well. And for those of you on cloud, hopefully we can show you some more exciting things as well. So what we do at Collect is we want to inspire brilliant work in Confluence. And how do we do that? But just as a general, I suppose, who am I? Why should I talk to you about this? So we're part of the Adaptivist Group. We are a platinum partner in our own right. And as part of the Adaptivist Group, I think we hold 5 platinum awards. So we're kind of in bed with Atlassian, one might say. Very close partners. But from a security perspective as well, we're cloud fortified, we're ISO certified, and pretty much all round good people. Great customer support. We want people to use our apps, we want you to use Confluence, and we want you to get the most out of them. And today we want to help you set your knowledge free. So one of the main questions I kind of have for you is, how much time does your team find themselves searching for information or recreating existing knowledge? You know, do you work in silos? Are you remote workers? Do you need something to help you all find where all your knowledge is? Trying not to be in 15 different systems where you have to come in the morning, log into all 15, try and remember where everything is. You know, what we want to show you is that Confluence can be your single source of truth. So how do we tackle the knowledge and collaboration gap? You know, what we commonly hear is that information silos hold back remote and hybrid teams. Knowledge is trapped, trapped in many systems across, you know, Joe over here who wants his Google Docs, Fred over there is completely in his Microsoft world and won't give up Word. You know, where do we all come to find that common link? What we don't want to happen is we don't want collaboration to suffer. We want knowledge to be accessible to everybody. You know, we live in a very connected world where everyone is on, they say 24/7, you know, news flashes everywhere. In reality, your knowledge should do as well. And what's the cost if your knowledge is locked away? So according to Greater Minds Than Me, employees spend an average of 9.3 hours a week searching for information. And I think probably that might resonate with many, really. How many times have we all just thrown that pen down going, I know it's here. What has someone done with it? Or, you know, if you're in my generation as a hardcore Gen Xer, kind of like, what happened to books? Can we not go back to a book? And really, if you've got new people coming and you are in this remote world, how do your new hires find everything? You know, how do they have that same kind of feeling that they're in an office and they can tap their colleague on the shoulder and go, you know, like in the old days when you went, can't find it, where is it? And some wise person will go, it's in there. But really Confluence with its search functionality, with the new AI tools we've got now, it can be that one for you. So what we're going to look at is how we can free that knowledge with Confluence Cloud. And we are going to focus on cloud, so sorry anyone in data center. But realistically, the same rules apply. Spaces and pages, you know, it's organize the information by team, project or topic, but also collaborate across things like knowledge bases. My personal favorite is templates. I am very much not a design person. I want things to look pretty and engaging. I want you to read my documentation. But if someone has created a nicer page, I'm fully prepared to steal it. And that's where templates come in. Why recreate things from scratch? And the big thing, I think, is engaging content. I think Confluence has probably suffered from how it used to look, where people open up, you probably saw in your documentation in there, and some lovely developers written all his notes in, and it's very black and white, and he's very proud, and he wants everyone to know what he's done, but everyone else looks at it and goes, oh, wall of text. And it's amazing what a bit of engaging colour or just having a bit of a wraparound can do to bring that to life for them. And what you want, obviously, is things that are quick, they're easy. You don't want to spend your life. As one of our beloved script runner devs said to me, I just want everyone to know what to do. And you're like, that's great. And they go, so I've just written it all down. You go, that's great. Do you think it's easy to follow? Well, no, I just kind of regurgitated it. And that tends to be what people do. They sit there, you write it all down, and you think, great, I've done it. You go off. You come back a week later and no one's read it. And you think, oh, so rude. Did you inline comment? Did you tag people? There's lots of ways you can boost your engagement. And a lot of this is just core standard Confluence. But the big thing is real-time collaboration. I spend a lot of my time working with my beloved colleague who is out in Africa. I've got a lot of colleagues in the States. We have a lot of colleagues in Europe. And the one thing we can all do is come to our Confluence page, leave each other notes, and we can all get on the same page. And I think that is the way, really. Yes, we can Zoom, we can Loom, we've got lots, but sometimes it's just easy to kind of go, should we just open a page? Both work on it, it's done. Rather than the whole, well, I've put it in a Miro board, and there you go, I don't like Miro board. I put it in a Confluence whiteboard, or it's over here. I'm not a fan of Miro. I know there are lots of lovers of it, but I find it too confusing. But Confluence has it all. And what we also have as well is permissions. So control who can view, who can edit. So if you're from compliance, security, all teams can access Confluence. It's not the world of tech or devs. Yes, it's their core, it's their hub, it connects to Jira. But you can attach all your documentation in there. You can make sure who sees it are the right people. You've got your analytics to track who's looking at it. And the biggie really for me is you can keep your knowledge up to date. And that is the core really, is that your knowledge needs to be up to date, and you can track this. You can see when the page was last updated. You can look at your knowledge base and say, it's been a year, someone needs to update this page. And you can tag them, you can move them around. And then obviously we've now got the beauty of automation and workflows. So I'm not going to steal Michael's thunder because I think he probably might talk about teamwork and ROVO, and I am but a mere customer success manager. But we can have a look as well and see how easy that can be to use. But how do you guys use Confluence? If I said project documentation, do I get any takers? Meeting notes and action items? Handbooks and onboarding, are we using it for this? Knowledge bases and FAQs, do I have any takers? Would you like to use it for these things? Process and policy management. There's lots of different things you can use it for, but I think the big thing here is, as a company hub, everyone in the company can use it. It doesn't just have to be tech. I live within a marketing company, well, marketing team, sorry, not company. We're a big tech company. But I report into marketing, and they can use it. They can do branding, they can do their colour schemes, all the things that they want to make it look good and engaging. So I'll stop talking and we'll have a look at the product. But what we'll have a look at is how we can make Confluence work better for you, and look at your visuals, your organisation and your engagement. And if anyone has any questions and wants to shout out anything, feel free and we'll see what we can do. But let's have a quick look. So this is probably quite a standard page in Confluence. So it's very black and white. It is what I would call a wall of text. And then over here, I have another page. This is still Confluence Cloud, but it's, I would say, Very pretty. Oh, looks blue on your screen. It looks purple on mine. But we've got colour, we've got engagement, we've got a little funky search bar in here. We have these nice little cards, as we would call them, which are great because they're very much like a big button. And we have FAQs. This is a little bit of our product, so I'm kind of encroaching. So this is what we call our Mosaic product. So this is an extra to normal Confluence. But we have tabs, we have expands. But Atlassian have macros too, they're built in. If you've gone from data center server into Confluence Cloud, you'll know it is a different world really. And I think the thing for me is it is a lot simpler. You know, you might be an admin and go, but I've lost my CSS and I've lost my ability to do it, but you've not really. It's just now been disseminated so that everybody can use things a little bit easier. So hopefully this look and feel is similar to you. I know Atlassian's just been rolling it out, so you might have the old top bar. That's gone now and it's gone down to the side. I don't know about anyone else, but that confused me enormously for a while. I lost many things. But you know, you've still got your recents. We can go and have a look at what we've been doing. We can look at our starred, our spaces. So this is one of our test ones, but if we have a look at this one, this is kind of our main Confluence site really. And there's lots in there. So we can see all our spaces, we can see all our team members in here. And one of the things we mentioned really about getting people to engage, use Confluence, but also use it so it's quick and they're not distracted from their main job, because I know that's what we're all out there doing. This is where I think templates comes into its own. And Atlassian have in their templates area, which they have hidden slightly down here, but there are a few ways to get to it, lots of templates. You know, we can, anyone have a template they want to search for? Anything you use on a day-to-day basis? Oh, I'm not sure you'll get one of those, but let's have a look. We've not got one of them, but interestingly, we did discuss in my team the other week about having some Agile and ISO and ITIL or ITIL type templates, so they are coming from us. But, you know, now not to be, I'm going to do it. I think our templates are better. So there's lots of templates in there. Everyone can find their own. But we, as a vendor, have created some as well. And what we've done is we've already done that hard work, because my job is to help people get the most out of Confluence and our apps. And we have lots of macros. We used to be called content formatting macros for anyone who's been working in the Confluence world for a long time. We've rebranded to Mosaic because it's a lot easier for me to say and hopefully for everyone else to remember. But sometimes people go, what is a macro? When I first joined, I just thought, is that not Excel? Is that not? But within Confluence, a macro is a way of doing many, many things, really. And it's difficult for everyone to know which ones they do. You know, do you add a tab? Do you add a table? You know, what's the difference? What do you want to do? So our templates have pre-built things. And they may not hit the mark completely, but they're very easy to adapt, as are all the templates. And you can come in here, search for them, have a look. You know, we've got one here for FAQs, maybe a bit of a standard thing that people might do. Really simple. You press use and it will default for you. And it will load. And now that we have, if you've got Atlassian Intelligence turned off, you don't even have to think about page titles anymore, because at the end of this, it will just give me one. So here's a little preview of what a template could look like. So this is one. Now, personally, I always delete this because I find it slightly annoying. And that's the good thing about these things. You can just get rid of things really simply. And I've not broke it. And if I had broke it, we've got version control. And I could come up here and I could undo. Or if I'd gone really far and then gone, you can go back. So another win there is your version control within Confluence. But this is just a simple way. So we've got lots of macros in here. We've got a background one, which essentially is to do colour, a little bit like CSS was. We've got things like an advanced expand. So they're ours. Atlassian also have expand. So if you've got lots of information, but you want to make it a little bit more visual. But if I wanted to use this, I could simply publish it. I would probably want to edit. And there we go. There's my favourite thing about Confluence and having intelligence in there. I no longer have to remember to give a title or think of it myself. It just gives me one, which is beautiful. So we can publish. Oh, a unique name. Oh, ROVO, you've let me down. And part of the beauty when we're looking at Confluence for me is the fact that you can create something, you can choose its location, you can choose who can see it. Everybody could see it because, you know, we want to set our knowledge free. But sometimes we want to work on things without everybody seeing them until we're ready to release it to the wild. So we've got our access. And if we have any admins in here, you'll all know that your access is very important to you all. But I'm going to let everyone see this and we can just publish. And by the power of exciting macros, we now have colour. And we have a nice looking page with lots of FAQs, all nicely ordered. We have some cards, which are a bit like big buttons. So this is where we can start joining Confluence to other systems. We can use our macros to bring in a Jira ticket. We could use a card to link to other Confluence pages so that people don't get lost on their journey through. Great for onboarding. We could link it to the internet to bring people through. We could embed documents from Google, from Word. Everything can be placed in here so everybody can have access and not have to go looking for through everyone's personal Google Docs or Fred's left, his document, has it left with him? But no, we've embedded it in Confluence. It will be here. We can go, we can find. Does anyone use templates at the moment? Would anyone want to use templates going forward? Have I encouraged you all to at least give them a look? So is there anything in Confluence at the moment that you would like to do, but you're not quite sure how?
So can you give, because you are obviously a fan of templates, can you give us some cool templates and why people would use that?
I think it depends on your job role to get you specific ones, but I think one of those sort of maybe a generic thing that most people do across all teams is like things like one-to-ones and documenting them, which is always great fun. Or I don't know if anyone does something like if you have your one-to-one or you, the end of the week, you do a report to your manager and you kind of do that. So you could use a template to set that up so you don't keep having to recreate it. So I think it's usually for me for templates, it's either, it might be a project you're doing and you want a project plan, but you want, let's say you've got lots of divisions with thousands of projects running, or even just 2 projects running, but you want everything to look the same. And by that I mean someone in branding wants everything to look the same. And that can be quite important to businesses that you've got that same look and feel going through. But rather than everyone having to recreate their own project plan that's got the right branding, the right colours in, and you know the right kind of formatting, then it's quite nice to use a template. And what you can do is you can promote templates to the team. So you can use ours, you can use Atlassian's, but what you then can do is you can make them your own. So you can take that template, get rid of the bits you don't want, change it into all your colouring, you can save them, and then if you're a space admin or a site admin, you can promote them. So for instance, if I went to create page here, I think it's a bit tired with it being the evening. You can see down here, it already has a couple of templates. And this is because it's kind of, it remembers my most commonly used ones. So I spend a lot of time teaching people about designing company hubs. But you can also use a template to do that, because sometimes that's the one where people go, you know, we want a page where it reflects the company, everything's there, and we need to do everything to do, and everyone just kind of goes, oh, but how? And I think that's where, I may be biased, but I think things like macros come in there as well, because you can have everything linked and moving, and it might be you're a global company and you might have HR in Europe and in the States and in APAC. And although everybody wants to come to the company hub, you might need them to go to HRs in slightly different ways, because we might all have different ways of working. And that's where you can have your one company hub, but you can direct people into the right place so they get the right information and they're not kind of lost thinking, you know, I'm sat here in Leeds thinking I don't really need to know that my Canadian people get paid every 2 weeks and sit there thinking, but I don't. You know, it's things like that where you can direct them right. And I think that's one of the key brilliances of Confluence, is that everyone can still be in there. You can still have the same information, but you can also send people down their different channels. And Confluence is quite good at remembering and moving things through for you. I am a big fan of things like labeling. And I often say this and people often look very blankly at me. But one of the things that people often tell me they struggle with is searching for things and documents, and they can't find them. And yes, you can go and tag people, but you'll go, so this great document that, you know, Joe did in marketing and it looked really good, but I can't think what its name is. But if you use labels correctly when you create a document and make them quite specific, when people search, your labels mean the search function will come up higher. So that's my second tip. Use your templates, use your labels, because it will make people finding those great templates you've done a lot easier. And the other side of it is, if you're creating your spaces, you know, there's a macro called your content page. If that's at the top and you've got your child pages all nicely lined underneath, then you'll find your spaces become nice and user-friendly, which is what we all want them to do. Mine in here is a bit of a test environment, so it's a little bit of a mess. But if we'd gone into, you know, let's say I was in the marketing division and you've got commercial marketing, you've got, can't think of any other marketing divisions on go-to-market. You could have all the strategies in there with your top line, all your child pages, and then within that, your pages can then also link to different systems that you might be using. You know, if you use things like Monday or Jira. I'm sure we probably have some Jira lovers in here. So you can tag them. So let's say you want to create dashboards or reporting for senior leadership. That's another thing you can create templates for. So you've got all your tickets in Jira, but you might want some headlines or dashboards created, because your senior manager might not need to know what all your tickets are doing, but what they want is an overview. And Confluence is a great space for adding that in. So you can do your reports, you can link your tickets for the people who do want to go and have a look. You can bring that information in. But what you want to be able to do as well is make it interesting for the person reading it, easily findable and easily digestible. And I think that's sometimes why people have kind of lost their way and gone, oh, well, we bought this system over here. You know, we've got Notion that this department uses. We've got Google Docs that everyone over here is using. But Confluence can have all of that in the one space, and you can link to all your things. And the big thing people will say to me is, well, you know, we really could do with a bit of a web look and feel. We don't like the black and white. If we're going to have an intranet, it needs to look nice and colourful. And I kind of go, oh, look, we can do that. You know, and it's not that difficult. You know, even if we were going to just start from scratch, you know, and this is a slight add-on, but you know, this is very simple to do. And if you're allowed AI, do we have any AI allowers in here? Are we locked down? I think AI is becoming more common. People are becoming a bit less frightened of it. I know Atlassian you know, they've got ROVO, Atlassian Intelligence now, you know, and I can't lie, it does make life easier when it kind of reminds you and prompts you to do things. But you know, not everybody can have it. So the other side of it is labels. So you know, if you haven't got your ROVOs out there doing all your good work, digging down for you, make sure your documents are findable and add your labels to them. But if you did have AI, you know, we could easily come in here and say, this is announcement. We can say new. And all I'm doing here is giving it a prompt. So it's not actually doing anything untoward. It's not reading Confluence. It's literally, I'm telling it it's announcement, and I'm telling we've got a new product called Mosaic, and I'm just asking it to generate my slide. And there it's done. It's given me some words, it's given me a button, and that button can then lead to the Mosaic pages so people can go find out more. It could lead to a survey, a form, you know, anything that we need it to look to. And then we could just keep doing that. Or, you know, we could simply just come and do it ourselves. So we could go create ourselves a more engaging picture, because AI didn't really do much there. We could have a look at our formatting. We can do a button.
Excuse me, is the templates, are the number of these templates keep increasing?
Yeah, so templates are added all the time. There's hundreds of them. We, as a vendor, for our own templates, I think we've got 30 plus, and we keep adding more. So, we have over 10 million users using our product. And the one thing we keep saying to them is, tell us what you want and we'll add more to them, because people do find them easy. Our usage has gone massively high on people using them. Things like your to-dos, your project plans tend to be at the top lists of them. Everybody kind of wants a nice team page with people's pictures on them and information, so that makes a great template. I mentioned before, we're looking at maybe doing some agile ones, because we met a customer at Team 25 who was going, really want to recreate, I think it was the entire agile process, and they wanted to have it pressable, going to all these different things. And it was kind of, at first we were kind of like, it's a bit busy, but we could do it. And afterwards we were a bit like, I bet they're not the only one that want this. Maybe we could template it. So if our customers come to us and say, we want this, we can spread them through. We originally did templates because one of our sort of big bank customers said, what we'd really like is everybody to do it in this way. And our problem is that everyone keeps creating things in their own way, and then it's not quite on point. And we were kind of like, okay, we could create with templates.
If the number keeps increasing, because the whole idea is to remain agile, right? So if like in 5 years time, 10 years time, if the number of 30, 50 becomes 200, 300, then there would be a drop, because people have different choices. So what do you think would be the future of this number of templates?
I think businesses will only use the templates they want. We can add as many in, either Atlassian or us as a vendor or other vendors, but we're only adding them in because we want to kind of hit everybody's kind of wants and needs. But I think as a customer or as a user, you would pick the ones that you want. And quite a lot of the admins we talk to say, what we'd really like is this one, and this one. And you can promote them so that these are the ones, because if anyone's like me, I'm a simple soul. If it appears at the bottom of my page, I just think, oh, okay, there's one. And I think a lot of people kind of think, you're busy, you've got other things to do. You'll pick the one that is most available to you. And your admins can kind of, they can promote them so that they are there for you. So I think you will settle down to using the templates that you want. And the beauty of the templates is they're updatable. So as time goes on and things change, and you might decide to go from being green branding to red branding, then you can completely change things. So nothing's static with the templates, which I think is kind of the power. And we're not saying that our templates or Atlassian's templates will completely hit the mark, but what they are is a starting point, because I think sometimes with Confluence, it's that fear of the blank page. What do I put on? And if left to my own devices, I literally would put a banner on here, and I'd probably come further down and go, okay, let's have a tab. So I'd put a tab or a table in there, and I think people then get used to creating what they want or what they know. So we have 16 macros in our macro toolkit, and sometimes we come across customers who think we have one. And I'm like, so we use tabs, is that the most common macro that we have. It's beloved across the Confluence ecosystem. And despite the fact we've got 15 more in their toolkit, and they pay for all 15, they're very shocked when you say to them, there are more than just tabs. And they'll go, oh, no.
But it's like, for example, you go to a restaurant and then you see what's their menu, So you get Chinese and Japanese, two different cultures, so they have different. So then you get lost about what to choose. So for example, I remember there was a time, templates are wonderful, so no doubt about that. It's very helpful. But I remember when I was making for example, in PowerPoint that everyone can understand, there was few templates. But now there are significantly a lot. And as a user, I get lost which one to use. So I was just wondering what would happen in 5 years and your strategy about, are you going to reduce the numbers or you just keep going to increase this menu of possibilities?
I think, if I'm entirely honest, I suspect AI might take over, and I think you'll just tell it what you want. In the whole, let me show you, where's that? If I go back to, where was that page I had that was just black and white? So let's use the power of the back button. Let me go back one more. So, don't want to go that far back. It's not going to play with me, is it? So if I go to my recent pages, and we can go and have a look here. And let's look for our wiki. So, found you just a wall of text, because if I'm going to a page, I do tend to just write things out, and I'll be honest, sometimes if I have to design a page, I'm liable to go to pen and paper out and put my headings and what I want to do, and then I'll go to Confluence and put it in. So, not to push our product, because Confluence is a fantastic place, but in line with what you were saying, and this does use AI, for those people who don't even want to do the template section and not quite sure what to do, we have something called Smart Designer. Now we have this as an AI variant and a non-AI variant. So we're not leaving anyone out on this one. But all we do is highlight an area and ask it to start designing. And based on the fact that people don't, I could recite our 15 macros. Very much doubt anyone else in the room could. Maybe Jack, but, oh. Do you think you can, Jack? So what this does, it's taken my little wall of text, and for me, it's gone, oh, look, I think this will look nice in some cards where it'd be a bit more engaging. People have got a picture, and these cards are like a big button as well, so they can go off somewhere else. But over here on the left-hand side, it's gone, well, you might not like cards. You might not like that I've rewritten your content. So we've got controls. We could turn AI off, or I think, cards are a bit overused. But I can simply, without having to keep recreating everything, have a look what this would look like in lots of different macros. So I can see what it would work best as. Does it want to be in here? Should it be everybody's favourite tabs? Yeah, actually I quite like the cards. Let's leave them as cards. We could replace the highlighted. We can still edit the page. So I'm still in control. So all AI has done, in this case, it's rewritten my words, which I'm no wordsmith, so I'm happy with that. But I know other people would have turned that control off. But if I'm not totally happy, I can still go in and go, is that a good picture? I might want my own. So we can still go and edit here. But this is a little bit like that world where it might go to, rather than templates being set and you having to go and do it, this is kind of looking at it from the reverse way of, you just write down what you want to say and then you ask. And I would have brought my wand, but I forgot it.
So I got a question. So what the pictures then? So where do they come from? Are they generated? If your words were about, I don't know, roller skating, would we get roller skating?
Pretty much. So AI is just pulling pictures through. So it's using OpenAI in the background. Or if you were wanting to do your own, and you were using our macros in this case, we have pixels. So, you could come in here and search for books and see if there's a better picture of books in here. Or you can just upload your own.
So the library.
Yeah. So it comes with a library. Or a lot of people like to upload their own because they want to make it more specific to them, or your branding insists that these are your images, so you might have a page that you've got them all placed and you move things over. So you've got lots of different ways to pull them through. So it's I think the beauty of Confluence to me is it's very flexible. And what we're trying to kind of show here is it can be adapted for all different teams. It can grow with you. It can have that colour and the engagement that people might think, oh, well, we had SharePoint and that's an intranet and it looks far more whizzy. But actually Confluence can look that whizzy as well. You might need a couple of apps. You might not. It depends on what you want to do. But the beauty of Confluence is there's a full marketplace out there. And if you think of something you want to do, the chances are there's an app. and they can be brought in, and not all apps are expensive. Some are free, depending on your size as well. You get trials, you can try them out, so you can come and do. And then you can find out what works for you as either a team, a division, a company, however it's going through, really. But I think having somewhere where you can all collaborate, and one of the things we've probably not done very much, because I've kind of gone off on a template rant and labels, because I do love them, is even if it just comes to the fact, so we won't save that, we can still do things as well, like, if this was me, I could comment. So let's say this wasn't my document and this was yours, and I was like, yeah, I don't really agree with what you said there, or, I think this would be an update you want to do. We can put our comments in. I might be, let's say I'm in New York, because I'd like to be fancy. You could come in London in the next morning and go, oh, okay, that's a good idea. You can then go, okay, I accept that, we'll update it. And by the end of the day, we've collaborated. We've taken that knowledge, we've increased it, we've made it better, without you having to have a Zoom, a phone call. They've made you a comment. So it's as close to real time, because you've woke up in the morning and gone, oh, okay, New York have got some add-ons, that's really good, I quite like that, we'll agree, we'll accept them. And I think that's the part where Confluence for me kind of moves you over. And you might argue that other things can do it too, because they can. But one of the big things with Confluence is it integrates to pretty much everything, and you'll probably find it's a tool you've already got. You've already invested in it. So if we were looking at kind of the rationalization of different tools and saving costs and work ethics, it's kind of like going, well, okay, Confluence Cloud has come on in leaps and bounds visually. It's a lot easier to use than it was in DC. I think the DC product is fantastic and you can do so much, but you probably need to be quite technical to do it. I look after both, and I can't lie that sometimes I go back and go, I can't remember. What does this do?
Are your templates only for Confluence or Atlassian products, or do you make similar templates for competitive products too?
Not at the moment, but it is something we're very open to.
What would be that product in Silicon?
We, as a business, we work with Monday. I think we also work with Notion. So, I belong to our product division within. So my product is applications for Confluence. But we did make apps for Monday as well. So that's kind of another side of things as well. So we're very open to it. So if you've got anything you think would work well in, then do say. I wanted to do Salesforce. We did, what they called, when all your developers come together and we build things. So we had that. Yes, so we did a hackathon. And I've always thought as a non-techie that wouldn't suit me. But I joined a team and we made an app for SAP. And we just kind of created it for Salesforce. But we were kind of going, so okay, we can create a similar app that we've created for Confluence in Salesforce. Could we do it for SAP? And I think that's the thing though, because there's a lot of commonality across those systems. But I think what they all have is a key want to be the store of your knowledge. And I think as a touch point, Confluence is probably something that a lot of people in your business are already using. And because it will allow lots of integrations, and I think it kind of makes it powerful. And if we can throw some apps in to make things better, and Atlassian are doing, we now have whiteboards. We've got ROVO, we've got the intelligence in there. So obviously whiteboards is going up against, you might have Miro or you might have another product in there. So it's kind of looking at trying to help people rationalize the systems that they use.
Yeah, maybe more like a comment or improvement, or maybe a question could come up from this is, what I've seen is I come from a place where we do a lot of technical documents. So in a way, I see some of the techies look at those templates and like, we need to have a ways of working because, so you probably look at a document and then you go from someone that's cropped out a picture from maybe video or maybe embedded video into it. How do we make that editable right in there without having to go to another, like an external program. You know, like sometimes you see we don't maybe stuff on the whiteboard, and then you have to copy or paste it in Confluence. Is there a case where we get to a point where right in Confluence we can edit the whiteboard, or start to do some things without having to leave that page itself to go to?
Yeah, I definitely think that is where Atlassian are going. I mean, their whiteboards are probably in their infancy, but I think they're coming on in leaps and bounds. And I know that the product manager at Atlassian as well, that if you go on in the community and have a look at what they're putting on the whiteboards, they are really open to comments like that. Because obviously at the moment they were very focused on being able to, and I think it's a great one where you add your Jira links in there and it goes and creates you a ticket and people make comments. And then you've got the database as well, where they all are kind of embedded within Confluence. So you've got the store of everything together. And if I'm entirely honest, you can embed Miro in there as well. I think it just messes with my brain when people start moving all around them. But it's just a me thing. I'm getting old. But I think Atlassian are trying to, as well as moving everyone to the cloud, they're trying to look at ways of making your life easier within the cloud. I think it definitely does that, whether it be Jira, it be Confluence. I think they've come on in leaps and bounds from where they were sort of 9-10 years ago. And I think a lot of that is that they do listen to what the community is saying to them. So I think they are a good business that you can impact what they do. And I think the ACEs particularly are quite important for that. If you go on the community and go in the sort of discussion groups as well, you can obviously go and put your own ideas and suggestions in there. And I think that's one of the great things about Atlassian is that everyone kind of does come together and kind of think of it as being kind of part of, it's a great tool for that. Whereas, would Microsoft listen in the same way? I'm not quite so sure. They've got their ideas, whereas Atlassian are more, okay, you want whiteboards, we've listened, this is it. Databases, it's probably not quite at the SQL level that people want, but as a way of bringing the different teams in and addressing their different needs, then I think the last couple of years they've definitely come in leaps and bounds. I think, things like Visio, you've got Draw.io, Giphy, I never quite know how to say that one. They've got lots of toolings that are kind of coming in, and and I know that as a product company, we really like to come to these things and hear what people would like, because we would rather you tell us what you would like us to do than we sit there in a dark room and kind of think of it ourselves, because we all know that it's never as good as listening to the end users. But yeah, I think they will, and I think the whiteboards are going to grow enormously. And I think, like you say, the whole point is people don't want to keep, it's like context switching, isn't it? That you kind of think, oh, gotta. And then I think I was looking for a document the other day, and me and my colleague were online, and I'm going, I know I've seen it. And she went, I've seen it. And I went, did we see it in Confluence? And then she went, was it in Miro? And I'm going, I don't know. And then eventually we did find it, and it was a whiteboard in Confluence. So I was kind of going, we were both kind of right. But I think that's the key, really, isn't it? Is how much time did we both spend? And we did go through every system we had going, I've seen it. I just need to figure out where it was. And in your day-to-day life, it might take a couple of minutes, it might take a couple of hours, but when you start to add that up, that's where you get back to that 9.3 hours a week, and that's a day. You could be out drinking beer and doing far better things than you are. And AI may then release us all on a Friday afternoon far earlier to get to wine o'clock, because it's organised everything for us and done all the bits that we don't really want to do. And that would make me happy. For me, the key within Confluence is collaboration. I think it's making sure everyone's on the same page and having somewhere where you can all go to and work together. But effectively, it's somewhere where your knowledge can be. So it can be your single source of truth, so that everybody knows where to go to find. But also you want it to be somewhere where all teams feel happy, really. And your technical documentation, they want theirs to look like this. Marketing, you want it to be engaging. Your project guys want to be able to link to all their other systems and have their projects and their timelines. And your management probably wants somewhere to go where they can read your reports, find them quite easily, make their comments. You know, do they really want to go into Jira and look for your Kanbans? And no, but would they like a single page that tells them, we're here, we're there, we've got to this. If you really want to, here's my links to hit to go back to Jira and have a look at what I'm saying is true. You know, my analytics will show you where you're going. And I think for me, that's what Confluence kind of comes into its own for.
Do you like have customers to see? You know, I was wondering because new generations are less patient. You know, we are getting impatient too, increasingly because of all the technology and AI. So I was wondering, like, there was a time that documentation was huge, and I have a feeling that the documentation is decreasing. Is that what you are seeing among your customers or not?
I don't think so, really. I think documentation is key to, particularly in products, you know, it's very version control and being able to control things. And I think what I'm probably seeing more of it, there's a lot of compliance coming in and security and making sure everything is right. And I think that's where you're going to. I think maybe what you could also be seeing is you used to have lots of manuals of documentation, and now everything's kind of hidden in spaces and pages. So you might think there's not as much, but actually what you'll probably be able to do now is find what you want easier rather than pouring through lots and lots of information.
Less tolerance of the wall of text.
Yeah. You know, and I think that's where things like macros and kind of building things like the colour and the directional buttons and cards that go to different places comes in. Because no one wants to kind of trawl through 50 pages to find maybe 3 items that they wanted to.
But we still hoard a lot of information, right?
Yeah, and I think that's the thing with Confluence. You kind of need that information. Everybody wants it there, but everybody wants it in an easy, digestible way to look at it. And I think you're right. No one has any time anymore to kind of sit there for hours going through and trawling through and learning. They want to be over. Yeah, well, you do, don't you? You want to look at a document and within a couple of minutes go, okay, I've got that. I know the gist. It's that TLDR, isn't it? You kind of want that. And I think that's something that Confluence is pretty good at, giving you the ability to put that through.
We did that as a template. It was like a TLDR on every page, you know, 3 to 4 so you could get it through.
Yeah, and now AI will write them for you as well, won't it? So it's kind of, you get even faster. But yeah, I mean, that's my only thing for me really is to say that I think Atlassian would say this as well, as what we're saying is communication, collaboration and efficiency is key. And that's kind of the hallmarks of where they're looking at with Confluence. And teamwork. Did I link you there, Michael?
You did.
But if anyone wants to talk Confluence, I'll be at the back.